Today we're looking at the Solo Stove and the Solo Pot 900, which can be purchased from solostove.com. The Solo Stove goes for $69.99 and the Solo Pot 900 retails for $34.99. This piece of equipment quickly became my favorite camping item to review to date, and this video is going to show you why. Both the pot and the stove are made from 304 stainless steel. With a closed height of 4.5 inches, the pot weighs 7.8 ounces while the stove weighs 9. One of the most obvious reasons to order the pot with the stove is the fact that the Solo Stove sits inside of it. This helps minimize space in your bag and makes everything easy to carry. The tolerances are pretty tight with the stove sitting inside the pot, and I didn't notice any rattling. Once the stove's out of the pot, you can remove the cooking ring and place it on top of the stove. First impressions out of the box were everything had a solid construction and everything fit together really well. There's no wobbles, no dings, no dents, things like that, or weak spots. Now we're looking inside the stove at the grate where your fuel's going to sit, which is made of nichrome wire, which has a melting point of over 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Speaking of fuel, well, you don't have to buy any, because this stove basically runs off a biomass that you'll find out in the woods. So for this example, I used some wet branches that I found outside and a couple pieces of tree bark. But here's another look at the stove sitting inside the pot without the protective bag, just to show you how easy everything fits together. On the top of the pot, you have a rubber-coated lift tab, which can be locked in the upright position. On the sides of the pot, you have double fold-out handles, which easily open up and can be used to maneuver the pot when needed. On the front of the pot, you'll notice a slight but efficient pour spout. Now that we have the stove together, it's time to gather fuel. It rained the night before, and I live in the state of Ohio, so I wanted to test a few branches I found in the yard. A few things to keep in mind when it comes to fuel. Make sure you make a pile that's more than what you need to get the fire started. This way you can add smaller branches to the fire as it's going. Try to keep your fuel no bigger than the width of the stove. As a fire starter for this stove, I used a dry cotton ball with a little bit of Vaseline on it. Now here's the part of the stove I was really impressed with. The circle cutouts located on the side of the stove help pull air into the flame, which helps it burn cleaner and longer. Now here's the part of the demo where I found myself a little speechless. As you saw earlier, I basically used branches from my yard and a dry cotton ball with a single match to get this type of flame. I was extremely impressed with this type of result from such a light stove that didn't require purchased fuel. Inside the pot, you'll notice internal measurements, which really comes in handy when adding water or a liquid to cook with. For this demo, I wanted to see how long it would take to boil 15 ounces of water. Notice the size and the strength of the flame, which is still running off the original match and fuel I added earlier. One of the many smart features of this stove is the fuel front door, which is used to easily add additional fuel to the flame while you're cooking. To my surprise, within 5 minutes of placing the pot on the stove, I'm starting to see water bubbles. At around 7 minutes, I had a nice 15-ounce pot of boiling water, ready to cook with. I can't stress enough how impressed I was with the stove and highly recommend it for anyone who's interested in purchasing one.